From CGTN headquarters in Beijing, this is The Hub with Wang Guan.
Hello and welcome to The Hub. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. Leaders from China and 5 Central Asian countries have come together in Astana, Kazakhstan for the second China-Central Asia Summit. The high-level gathering is far more than just a routine diplomatic event. It represents a defining moment for regional cooperation. Against a backdrop of global uncertainty, expectations are high. Since the Xi'an Declaration 2 years ago, what tangible progress has been achieved? What does this evolving partnership mean for regional stability and economic integration? And how will this summit help forge a closer China-Central Asia community with a shared future? Joining us today to explore all these questions is Vladimir Norov, former Secretary General of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and former Foreign Minister of Uzbekistan. So, Secretary General Norov, in 3 words, how would you describe today's global geopolitical landscape if you think about the turmoil that we have in the Middle East, the war in Ukraine, the superpower rivalry, so on and so forth?
So, geopolitical situation now certainly not so easy. We could see this in the Middle East, the conflict rising again, and in the same time, the not yet resolved with some tension between Russia and Ukraine. But at the same time, we're looking forward that there will be find some solution between 2 sides on the base of dialogue and political way of finding solution these differences and these conflicts.
What about the geo-economic situation? Because after all, it is about economic growth and development.
The economic development in the world, certainly. Now we see this. There is, we can say that trends, today's global economic landscape can be characterized by 3 keywords: uncertain, geopolitical tension, ongoing conflicts, US-China, competition, climate disruption, rapid technological shifts connected to developing AI, and trade restriction, strategic decoupling, especially in tech and critical minerals, and regionalization of supply chains are breaking down the hyper-globalized model, creating compelling economic flows. And third, inflationary, while pulling from peaks, persistent underlying price pressures remain a key challenge for central banks and consumers, even aimed at solving growth in some regions.
Now, talking about the economic growth, the OECD recently lowered the global growth to just 3.1% in 2025 in light of all these uncertainties, geopolitical uncertainties, chief and foremost. However, it does raise China's economic forecast to 4.8%. What do you think this all says about the global outlook on the resilience of the Chinese economy, and what would that mean for the global growth?
Certainly, the OECD upward revision to growth of Chinese economy 4.8% contrasts sharply with the downward revisions for most major economies and the global average rise 3.1%. This signals China is navigating current headwinds, global slowdown, fragmentation, better than peers in near term. The upgrade likely reflects, first of all, aggressive fiscal monetary stimulus, significant government investment in infrastructure, strategic industries, especially high-tech manufacturing, and targeted monetary easing, manufacturing and export resilience. Despite trade tension, China's deep industrial base and supply chain integration continue to support export, particularly in electric vehicles, renewables, and electronics. Domestic demand shows signs of improvement after prolonged weakness, though sustainability remains a watch point. How China could reinforce global economic resilience? Despite fragmentation, China's scale and specific action offer crucial stabilizing potential. At the world's largest goods trader and second largest consumer market, sustained Chinese demand, even 4 to 5% growth provides vital export markets for commodities, supporting resource exporters and manufactured goods components, supporting Asian supply chain. China's vast diversified manufacturing base acts as a shock absorber. Its ability to ramp up production helps dampen global inflationary spikes. China remains a critical supplier of essential components and materials globally. Stable Chinese output helps prevent bottleneck elsewhere. While facing domestic deflation risk, China's massive production capacity helps keep global goods inflation in check, offsetting service-led inflation elsewhere. This eases pressure on central banks globally. Chinese heavy investment in clean energy tech, mass production drastically lowers cost for solar panels, batteries, and electric vehicles globally, accelerating the energy transition, a key long-term resilience factor. Belt and Road Initiative projects, while facing scrutiny, can enhance connectivity and productive capacity in developing regions, while geopolitical friction limits formal coordination. Chinese calibrated stimulus, avoiding massive overheating and focus on high-quality growth, shifting towards tech consumption, aligned broadly with the global goals of sustainable, non-inflationary expansion.
In the heart of Eurasia, where history meets ambition.
Bound by the ancient Silk Road, China and Central Asia share a rich legacy of friendship.
In Astana, world leaders carry that spirit forward into a new era of cooperation and shared growth.
From trade to transportation, from energy to education, nations are building bridges and crafting a future that connects people across generations.
The second China-Central Asia Summit, where centuries-old ties evolve into modern partnerships, it all gathers together here in Astana.
Stay with CGTN for full coverage.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
The second China-Central Asia Summit takes place in Astana, Kazakhstan. Central Asian countries have increasingly become China's, among the most robust partners that China has anywhere in the world. What are your expectations for the second summit between China and Central Asian countries?
Certainly, the Astana summit is expected to move beyond the foundational Xi'an declaration towards operationalization. Key deliverables will focus on physical connectivity, rails, roads, ports, energy security, pipelines, renewables, and trade facilitation. While major new initiatives might be announced, the core outcome will be concrete implementation agreements for existing priorities, demonstrating tangible progress in building the China-Central Asian community with a shared future. Success will be measured by the speed and scale of actual construction, and trade flows resulting from signed deals.
Now, talking about cooperation, multilateral cooperation between China and Central Asia, China-Kyrgyz-Uzbek Railway stood out. It's been many years in the making. The negotiation went on for years, if not decades, and the construction finally began in April. What benefits do you expect this China-Kyrgyz-Uzbek Railway to deliver for the involved countries and the region?
I can say that Xi'an Summit's declaration especially focused on beginning construction of China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway. For Central Asian landlocked countries and Uzbekistan, double landlocked countries, this project is very vital. When I was Secretary General of SCO, I always, in my statements, in any level, I focused that Central Asia is the core of SCO, but prosperity, stability, and sustainable development of Central Asian countries, and particularly Uzbekistan, more depend on access to the world seaports, because sometimes the price of goods, 60% it was price of transporting. That's why this 454-kilometer line is the far more than tracks and tunnels. It is the key that unlocks Central Asian destiny at the heart of commercial trade and continental trade. While the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan changes the game, let us be clear, this corridor rewrites rules. It creates the shortest land pass from China to Europe, slicing through mountains to connect Kashgar to Andijan in Uzbekistan. It integrates with the European Union's middle corridor, turning Central Asia from a forgotten hinterland into Euro-Asian central nervous system. Today, goods take 14-18 days via Russian Trans-Siberian route or 15 days through Kazakhstan, the Kyrgyzstan. China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan will slash that to 9-12 days, rivaling sea freight spots while beating it by 3 weeks. By 2035, it could carry 15 million tons of high-value cargo, from semiconductors to electric vehicles. What will this deliver? 4 revolutions, if I can say. First, trade velocity. Reducing 5+ days of transit makes rail viable for time-sensitive goods. A single container from Shenzhen to Hamburg could save $2,000 versus air freight. Second, new economic cities. Osh, Kyrgyzstan city, evolves from regional market to global dry port. Andijan, Uzbekistan city, becomes the linchpin linking China to the Caspian Sea. Industrial zone will rise along the route, processing Uzbek cotton, assembling batteries, feeding Europe. Third, energy mineral synergy. This rail enables parallel pipelines and critical minerals flows. Uzbekistan lithium to Chinese markets, Turkmen gas to global markets, and etc. Fourth, geopolitical resilience. Amid sanction on Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan offers a sanctions-proof alternative, aligning EU diversification goals with China's Belt and Road Initiative ambitions. This project does something profound. It moves Central Asia from the periphery to the center of Eurasia. Kyrgyzstan could see its GDP surge 7 to 10% from transit fees plus 15,000 construction jobs. Uzbekistan emerges as the true regional leader, the corridor's indispensable anchor. Kazakhstan Caspian ports gain new purpose, binding the middle corridor together.
Now, Mr. Norov, you were the Secretary General of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now, it has expanded in terms of its members and also its partners around the region. We know that Shanghai Spirit was the founding principle upon which the SCO was founded. first and foremost. How do you look at the importance of the Shanghai spirit? And many people around the world ask this question: what is the end game of SCO? What kind of an organization is it really about?
Thank you. And the principle of Shanghai spirit put by our founders of our organization in beginning of creation SCO. The Shanghai spirit refers to the core values and principles that guide the SCO today. It emphasizes mutual trust, mutual benefit, equality, consultation, respect for diverse cultures, and the pursuit of common development. Essentially, it is framework for cooperation among member states based on non-interference, sovereignty, and peaceful coexistence. Here is more detailed breakdown: mutual trust. It is mean building strong relationship based on confidence and understanding between member states. Mutual benefit, ensuring that cooperation efforts are designed to benefit all participating countries. Consultation, one of the important principles, open dialogue and communication to resolve issues and make decisions. Respect for cultural diversity, recognizing and valuing the unique cultural identities of each member state. Common development, working together to achieve shared goals and promote prosperity for all. And that's why this common development became this principle attractive for many countries in Middle East, in South Asia to join to SCO family. Non-interference. Today it is one of the important principles, respecting the sovereignty and internal affairs of each member states, which now on the many parts of the world region violated. Non-targeting of third countries, ensuring that SCO activities do not negatively impact other nations. Unfortunately, in some discourse, there is a narrative that SCO against West or SCO against NATO. SCO not against any organization. SCO not military organization. SCO, it is organization which is focused on developing cooperation between member states. And openness, being willing to engage with other countries and organizations. This is principle allowed to us to rise to the member states and observer and at the same time partner states of our organization and establish good partnership with the United Nations, UNESCO, with the other regional and international organizations.
And then how do you like organizations known as SCO and also the BRICS, collectively known as the Global South, complement the existing U.S. or Western-dominated paradigms when it comes to global governance? Will the Global South, once coming of age, replace the existing world order led by the United States, or run in parallel with that of the Western-led world order, or be competing? The two competing with each other?
Yeah, thank you. In a sense, China's initiative explicitly promote a multipolar cooperation order that overlaps strongly with the SCO's and BRICS evolving agenda. China has urged implementation of its global security, development, and civilization initiative within SCO as an enhanced efforts to innovate global governance and achieve common prosperity. These initiatives and the Belt and Road Initiative are grounded in principles mutual respect, meaning cooperation and respect for diverse civilization that echo the SCO's Shanghai spirit and contrast with the Western unilateralism. For example, both Belt and Road Initiative and SCO consider respect for the diversity of civilization a core value and stress core consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits. In practice, this means embedding Chinese-led ideals, sovereignty, non-interference, dialogue instead of cohesion into SCO cooperative programs, thereby fostering an SCO community of shared future for Eurasia. BRICS, likewise, increasingly project this vision. At the 2024 summit, analysts observed that members touted the expansion of BRICS as a defining moment, heralding the dawn of post-Western world order in which the global majority is finally empowered. In short, Chinese agendas are shifting the tenor of these bodies toward more pluralistic, networked governance, framed as a community with a shared future, beyond Western-centric norms.
Now, Secretary General Norov, how do you think China-Central Asia cooperation, built upon mutual respect and announced shared growth, shared goals, and shared visions, offer a perhaps contrasting model for intercultural interaction and dialogue?
So, the China-Central Asia Partnership explicitly frames cooperation on a basis of equality and mutual learning, rather than imposing one worldview. Chinese leaders often invoke the Shanghai spirit, which stresses mutual trust, mutual benefit, equality, and respect for diverse civilization. In particular, this means China engages Central Asia society as a partner. For example, it sponsors cultural and technical exchanges, agricultural training programs, and language cultural institutes in the region and on equal terms. The Belt and Road Initiative and related initiatives prioritize civilizational communication, promoting mutual understanding, respect, and trust among people. Chinese projects typically emphasize shared development, building infrastructure or institutions that explicitly serve local needs, often in consultation with the local expert. This approach allows multiple civilizations to contribute their own knowledge. For example, Central Asian environmental or agricultural know-how to join projects. In effect, China-Central Asian cooperation creates an intercultural dialogue platform, projects and planned and executed through bilateral and multilateral negotiation, though co-consultation principles, acknowledging each country's perspectives. Over time, people-to-people exchanges, students, scholars, farmers on this project help break down stereotypes, ensure the emphasis on mutual trust and shared development provides an alternative to one-sided narratives. It positions both sides as equal stakeholders in the building roads of communication and prosperity rather than export of any single ideological script.
Talking about climate and the environment, how do you see China-Central Asian cooperation initiatives being translated into regional public goods, especially when it comes to building climate resilience and dealing with the pressing ecological issues like the restoration of the RLC?
Yeah, thank you. This very serious challenge for Central Asia, the problem of RLC. And it is more than during one generation we lost this RLC. Multilateral China-Central Asian forums are explicitly intended to move vision into action by coordinating joint projects that generate regional public goods for climate and environmental resilience. This means using Belt and Road Initiative and summit agreements to fund cross-border cooperation in water and green development. In practice, China has already begun applying its expertise under a Green Silk Road banner. For instance, Chinese and Uzbek researchers built a 5-hectare demonstration farm in Tashkent to showcase drip irrigation technology. Since its introduction, crop yields were more than doubled, even as water use was slashed by over 70%. Chinese Xinjiang scientists have also helped Uzbekistan plant millions of hardy, salt-tolerant trees on cotton varieties on the Aral Sea bed, turning patched land green again. These kinds of projects, co-designed and jointly implemented, exemplified the summit's shared future ethic. Looking forward, summit communiques and declaration and Chinese Global Development Initiative explicitly include environmental goals under the 2024 SCO and China Central Asian agendas. Leaders have declared a focus on climate change and green development among high priorities. In short, the China Central Asia Summit is translating shared vision into regional public goods by leaning up collaborative projects, especially in water and ecosystem restoration that benefit all Central Asian citizens, as seen in current RLC rehabilitation efforts under the banner of win-win cooperation.
Now, Minister Norov, finally, if you could encapsulate the next decade or the coming decade of China-Central Asia relations in a keyword, what would that be and why?
And if one fitting phrase might be shared prosperity through connectivity. This captured the sense that China and Central Asia intend to deepen integration that all parties benefit. President Xi himself has said the Belt and Road Initiative should focus on achieving economic integration and interconnected development and deliver benefits for all. What I can say that this summit next decades will be more focused on developing interconnectivity when we're talking about the Central Asian role for China. Today, 85% of Chinese goods transported to Europe going through Central Asia, mostly through Kazakhstan. And number of trains rised last decade 10 times. But at the same time, by construction railroad, I hope that nearest years it will be finished. This number of transport trains will rise more. And this beneficial cooperation will give the impetus for economic development and sustainable development of Central Asian countries. The population of Central Asia is growing. It is more than 80 million today. In 2050, it will be 120 million, with a huge rare earth elements and energy capacity. Central Asia and China can develop mutually beneficial cooperation by focusing China to support Central Asian countries and, importantly, Uzbekistan, the developing manufacturing. For example, now in Zizag region of our country, with the Chinese BYD company, now we began to construct the plant from 50,000 cars now to 500,000 cars next years. That's why it is, looking forward to the next 10 years will be more productive and more influential and mutually beneficial cooperation, not only for benefits of two sides, China and Central Asia, but to all the Euro-Asian continent. Because Central Asia, it is the core, it is the heart of the Euro-Asian continent. That's why developing prosperity and sustainability of Central Asian countries, from this will benefit all regions. We see this now is rising interest to Central Asia from South countries, and at the same time from European Union, from the United States. All of them would like to develop cooperation with Central Asia. But this interest rises by mutually beneficial and mutually productive cooperation China with Central Asian countries.
Secretary General Norov, thank you so much for your insights and for your time.
Thank you.
And that will do it for this edition of The Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you again next time.